Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Tortuga, and you're drinking with Moe's. Get some.
This is Drinkinatmos, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's all so mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkinatmos, where we don't quit. Drinkinatmos, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, always a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drainamos, just because it says drinking at Moe's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Moe's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee, the, the exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, everybody, welcome. Drinking and Mo's Big Mo here. You know the drill. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Hit that like button with the Stone Cold Stunner. You know what to do. Don't forget about the audio platforms too. Today, I'm excited. I'm excited for this one because not only has today's guest been on my list for a little bit, every time I talk with anybody from down in my second home in Southern California, this man comes up on my, everybody says, oh man, you need to get this guy on. Tortuga, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain too much. I actually, technically not my first Father's Day, but my first one that I gotta like outwardly celebrate
Okay.
yesterday. A mutual friend of ours knows the whole story. The mi hermano SoCal crazy.
Okay.
He knows the whole story, but wife and I had a loss with a pregnancy, and well, actually, Christmas Eve, this last Christmas Eve,
Yeah.
gave birth to our son, and he's getting close to 6 months old now.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Oh yeah, can't complain there.
Well, happy belated Father's Day to you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, first thing I like to start off with everybody with when they first come on here. What got you started as a fan, and then what got you deciding to finally make that leap into the business?
Well, what got me started as a fan was I was watching wrestling with my grandfather a long time ago. I was just a kid, probably about 5, 6 years old, and he was a big wrestling fan. And I remember going to his house on the weekends, spending time with Grandpa, and we'd sit there and we'd watch wrestling. He had old VHSs from like WWF back in the day,
Yeah,
um, of like King Kong Bundy. They were all just like autobiographies, but in tape form.
yeah,
So they were pretty cool. I'd sit there and I'd watch them. They're very old films. Not too old, but for me, they were old because I was younger. Maybe
yeah,
now, if I had access to them, I'd be like, man, dude, I could really use these tapes now to like study and watch, learn a
yeah,
lot. But I used to watch those. And then, he, was a big collector of like pay-per-views. And he used to collect a lot of the Royal Rumble pay-per-views.
Oh,
And
my
I remember,
favorites.
yeah, so I remember that's, one of the first cassettes that I watched was, or VHS that I watched was the 92 Royal Rumble. And, when Ric Flair won it, became champion. And,
Yep.
that was, one of those core memories that stuck with me ever since I was a kid. And yeah, man, the Royal Rumble has always been something that I look forward to every year.
Oh, same.
Yeah, so I got 3 kids of my own. So my youngest is the one that's into wrestling more, but the other
Yeah.
two, they're kind of like in and out of it. But
Yeah. Hey, you got one. You got one out of the
yeah,
three that's fully into it like you. That's awesome. I know my little one. I've had a couple funny wrestling related memories with them so far. I watched very shortly after he was born. Watched SmackDown, and I've had a guest on, a good friend of the channel from Fightful, Alexis Cardoza. He does the SmackDown post shows on Fightful, and was watching SmackDown, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna hop into the show, and well, I didn't like. I hopped into the chat,
yeah.
but during SmackDown, I was holding my son, and all of a sudden I just felt this warm spot, and I'm like, something. I'm like, oh wait. I lifted him a little bit, and then I was like, ah, crap. So then I knew just what I had to do when I got into the chat for that post show. I said my son was so excited about the show he peed on me.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. And actually, he's already been to his first wrestling show because my wife and
Oh, really?
my wife and I met at a promotion here in Nebraska, and we were thinking, man, we a bunch of our friends all through there. We're like, you know what, we go take him there so we show him off a little bit so they can actually get a physically see him. So we found a show, and oh shit, oh
Lost you.
there, okay, there we go. We're good. It happens. But as I was saying, we found a show that fit the schedule, and we went. And
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
absolute hit. So I'm hoping my I've
Yeah,
you know I've been thinking about it, that it would be fun to get to share it with the little guy. I remember going to a show for a different promotion, and a guy behind me was talking about that particular show was him taking his son to his first wrestling show, and I was just like, man, I just had my boy Christmas Eve, and I can't wait till I get a, like, yes, he's technically been to his first show, but to take him to his first one that he'll actually remember.
yeah, absolutely.
Something I'm looking forward to. But back to kind of the second part of the question there. When you decided to actually make the leap into the business, was there just a moment that it happened, or was it kind of just that thing that once you get the passing idea, you're kind of just like, it never really goes away, so you're like, well, guess I might as well do it.
Yeah. So it's funny because I actually tried doing this 3 times. So the first time I was in the Marine Corps, and I remember I was getting out. I did my 4 years, and I knew I wanted to do something different with my life. And I remember going to they have I forget what it's called, but it's like when you're getting out of the Marine Corps, you go and speak to like you know,
Ye-
a company gunny or something, and they ask you, "Hey, what do you want to do?" A career planner. That's what it was. It's a
Yeah.
career planner. So it's like, "All right, Marine, what do you want to be when you grow up?" Just because I'm getting out of the Marine Corps, and he was trying to be funny. And I remember I was with one of my buddies. He was a sergeant, and he's like, "Bro, just tell him." And I was like, "Ah, dude." He's like, "Just tell him, dude." And I was like, "All right." So, well, Gunny, I want to be a professional wrestler. He's like WWF? I was like, "Yes, Gunny." He's like, "Ha, good luck." I was like, all right. So then I got out of the Marine Corps, and then I looked up, schools, and I was living in Corona at the time, and I found Santino Brothers, and
Mm.
so I tried to go out there. I found it online, um, and it never happened. So then maybe a couple years later, I was like, well, maybe it wasn't meant for me. I'm gonna get out, go to work. I had my daughter at the time. My wife was pregnant, and then maybe a couple years after that, I remember the School of Hard Knocks popped up on one of my
Hmm.
feeds, and I remember I don't know how it happened, but I just ended up trying to go find this place. I was telling my wife, I was like, dude, I really want to do this. Like she was always telling me, go check it out, try it. It's something you want to do. So I went to go look for the School of Hard Knocks down in San Bernardino, and somehow, I just couldn't find it. I found the building. Like now, I know where it's at. I've been there multiple times now. But
Yeah.
like at that time, I don't know if I just caught the guy on the bad day or what. But they have a gym that's like a boxing gym, and the
Mm.
wrestling's at the bottom. It's like a big gym. So when I went
Yeah.
in there, the guy said, "Oh, there's wrestling here." Okay. So then that was it for me there. And I'm sitting there years
Mm.
later, watching Total Divas with my wife, and lo and behold, it was an episode with like, the Bellas. They were
Yeah.
training down at a school in San Diego, and it popped up, and I was like, "Oh, where's that at?" And I was living here in California. It's a little city called Murrieta. It's
Yeah.
about 45 minutes away. So I googled it. I was like, "Where's this SoCal Pro School at?" It said 45 minutes away, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was like, "Ah, well, there's that." And then because of Google and Facebook, I started getting like ads for SoCal Pro for a 1 day tryout,
Mm.
and yeah, man, I took it as a sign, like, you know what, start
Kind of cut there.
out.
All good, man. When technical difficulties, that crap happens. But
All right.
you're mentioning about looking up the SoCal Pro School.
Yeah, so I looked up the school, and I was getting ads for Facebook. I went to go check it out, 1 day tryout, and yeah, man. Ever since then, I just kept showing up. I went to the 1 day tryout. It was something that I was like, I always wanted to do this. I did it, and I just kept showing up. And that was about 7 years ago.
Nice. And I remember when I first saw you popping up on SoCal Pro stuff because when I got my start watching independent wrestling, it was actually in San Diego. I was stationed down there with the Navy, and SoCal Pro was one of the it's the only promotion that's actually still going that I went to when I was down there. But
Oh,
lots of great memories from SoCal Pro. I would the Golden State Championship that they have there. I was there the night they crowned the first ever one.
oh wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
a fun little memory. But yeah, no, great memories from there. I'm very familiar with with Santino's and Knox Pro. Got
Yeah.
a lot of respect for there, but SoCal Pro definitely has a special place in my heart. And I just remember that I was looking for something to do on a day or evening that I didn't have anything going, and just Googled pro wrestling in San Diego, and then off to the races I went. The one thing, especially now with, WWE having bought AAA, Lucha Libre, the whole lucha culture has been just kind of all over the place. Like on a national scale, you're really seeing it pop up all over. But the thing that you know some people are finally coming to get into is the stories behind the different masks and stuff, and
Yeah.
the thing that kind of you and I have a little bit in common with not only veterans and all that, but your mask and kind of your in-ring persona all ties to another fandom that we both have, I've seen a lot with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Now, was there just when you were coming to figure out what your whole persona in the ring was going to be? Did was the TNMT fandom always factored in?
Um, Not really. I mean, so the thing is, with Tortuga, it was more of like something that was given to me.
Ah,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so like it was one of those things that like it just kind of happened. I was at a fair and we were doing shows, and I was still, very new to wrestling. Um, and all of a sudden, there's a wrestler from SoCal Pro named Dirty Doug.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, he actually used to don the Tortuga mask back in the day, and it was just something he had done. And you know, they had asked me like, "Hey, you ready for in ring?" And I was like, "Yeah." So they're like, "Here, put this on." So it was supposed to be like a one-off thing, and just something about putting it on, wearing it, like it just it just felt right, and I kind of ran with it.
Hey,
So I did my very best to make it something different and unique, and it's funny because there's a lot of people that would I've met that like were like, "Yeah, dude, I don't know how being a turtle you're gonna get it. I don't know what you're gonna do with it. It's not gonna last very long." And here I am, still being shell shocking and body rocking somehow, some way.
hey, you know, I get if you were gonna go full blown, just straight animal turtle, I can see the little. But if you lean into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle aspect of it, I
Yeah,
can see that gaining a following, and you definitely have. Now, I okay, everybody I know everybody that has the turtle fandom that you and I both do.
yes,
A lot of us have different collections of the turtle stuff. I know behind me, I definitely got a bunch like the Universal Monster mashups that have been coming out. I've got all but two, and I got two items that are like my most. If I had to say a most prized Ninja Turtle item that I have, it would be down to these two because I grew up watching the original cartoon,
yes.
and couple of, a couple years ago, I got to go to a Comic Con here just across town from me. I was hesitant to go, but then I found out that two Ninja Turtle related people were going to be at the Comic Con. One of them being the voice of Michelangelo from that original cartoon, and I got a Funko Pop signed by him right here.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you remember the first trilogy of movies, right? The
Yes.
first live ones. Third one for me, kind of. The second one, Secret of the Ooze, one of my absolute favorite movies ever.
Yeah.
Well, at that same convention, there was also the guy that was behind Splinter from those first two movies, and I
Oh wow.
got one signed by him too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, he even wrote above Splinter, "I made a funny."
That's actually pretty cool.
Holy crap! What the hell is that? Like the light flickered. Like it's a little spooky there for a second. Anyways, before I get too much into my head on that, yes, some of my Ninja Turtle fandom right there, and I definitely enjoyed getting to watch a lot of your stuff for SoCal Pro, and let's talk about it for those not in the SoCal Pro general area.
Mhm.
What do you got going on there right now? Because I mean, you've been a fixture of that promotion for a good little while now.
Yeah,
Even having some pretty solid runs with some titles there.
yeah.
What do you got going on right now for those that this might be their introduction to Tortuga?
Right now I just feel like I'm starting over. I'm trying to find a way to get back to the top and get back in the title picture. I just whether it's tag titles, heavyweight championship, or even, Golden State championship, I'm just trying to make my mark again. Like I'm coming off of, a heavyweight championship run. I lost it in a triple threat match, and right now I got my eyes set on Eddie Islas, the guy who cost me that belt.
Mm.
And once I'm done with him and, you know, I get that behind me, then I can look forward to, what's next, what's new.
Yeah, Eddie, he seems to have had a little bit of a shift in character since I had him on.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and him, we honestly used to be best friends. I mean, I would consider him a brother. Like he's come to my house. Our kids would hang out together all the time. Like he's got a daughter, I've got a daughter, about the same age. We were really close. And for him to be upset about things that, didn't come to light, a couple years ago and just hold on to that and be, you know, bitter about it, it's just, I don't know. I
Yeah,
envisioned me and him being on top of SoCal Pro and just being, a united front, and just he wasn't feeling it, and he just didn't want to be professional about it, and well, I'm just gonna handle it, any way that I can.
yeah, sometimes when people see somebody else getting to where they want to be before they do, wow, I'm just getting over my allergies kicking my butt. So,
You're good.
but yeah, it kind of throws a wrench into things sometimes, and sometimes they aren't seeing so clearly. But yeah, he's definitely had a definite shift of character since I had him on. But a thing that I love trying to keep up with stuff from SoCal Pro because I'm wanting to get back into the area, you know, around to show one of these years because I haven't been back since very shortly after my enlistment ended.
Okay,
But I keep up with SoCal Pro as much as I possibly can.
that's cool.
And the thing that I'm loving watching, with regards to different different footage and everything, is seeing that the consistent size of the crowds and the reactions that SoCal Pro seems to get all the
Yeah,
time. Consistently great turnouts. What has it, been like as far as actually being there and getting the sense of those crowds? Because
yeah,
feeding off, I've gotten little tastes of it feeding off the crowds,
yeah.
but to actually be there in front of crowds that SoCal Pro often gets, gotta be a great feeling.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it is. Like I'm me personally, I'm the kind of guy that like I feed off motivation. I feed off like energy. And even when I was in the Marine Corps, like we'd go on moto runs, and I like to call cadence while we're running, and
Yeah,
just having everyone involved, chanting in unison, just that motivates me. Like I feel that, it gives me
yeah,
goosebumps. And all the SoCal Pro shows, like the crowds, they're great, man. They're loud, they're roaring, they're like making noise, like man, they love every bit of it. And it doesn't just take one person; it takes an entire team, an entire group of us just giving the best show that we possibly can. Like there's so much that goes into all the things that we do at SoCal Pro, and we have a great group of guys and girls that put in as much work as they possibly can, constantly grinding, constantly training, constantly working hard. And like when we hear that crowd, to us, that's a big payoff of like, hey, everything we do, everything we put in, we're getting so much more back.
oh yeah, no,
Just,
that
bro, yeah.
Oh yeah, and I know from a fan perspective, you know, we can definitely sense when people are, really feeding into the reactions that they're getting instead of kind of, for the lack of a better way, phoning it in. The crowd can definitely tell when they are getting everything from the in-ring competitors that they are giving in their reactions. Like the back and forth is definitely sense. Now, you're not, well, actually, before I forget, SoCal Pro, not just the shows, when it comes to, you know, getting trained, because that's a very important aspect of the business. It Reputable schools are not as hard to find now as it was back. Kind of dating myself, getting ready to turn 42, but now it's like no matter what part of the country you live in, there's reputable schools within a not so far of a distance. Southern
Yeah,
California has quite a few. You brought up a few of them with, Santino's and Knox Pro, but SoCal Pro definitely has a pretty dang good training school right there that feeds right into the promotion that
yeah,
definitely churns out a lot of great talent. I've been lucky to, I've had some of the coaches on. I've had, oh, I always say that whenever I'm talking with somebody from Southern California that knows about SoCal Crazy, I'm always shouting them out because the guy he's been a true brother, even to me, and not having been in the area for, oh God, it's been since like 2012.
yeah.
So it's been a little bit, but SoCal Pro definitely has a great school. And you're popping up not just SoCal Pro. Like I've seen you popping up other places. Now, is the did I get frozen here? Up, no, I think we're back. Okay, I was thinking we were frozen there for a second, but I've been seeing you pop up other places.
Oh, okay.
Southern California has
Yeah,
it's never been a place that is really all that hard to find promotions there. It's always been a spot that's had an abundant amount of wrestling promotions. What do you got going on elsewhere for those, like I said, not in your general area that this might be their first introduction to you?
Well, I right now I'm currently also the United States champion for Valor Pro Wrestling
Oh,
up in the Hesperia area
okay.
and Hesperia Victorville area. And I work SoCal Pro. I've worked for EWF.
Hmm.
Um, I've also done work at One Ring Circus.
I want it.
Another promotion that pops up out here in San Diego. Um, I've been a few places, but right now primarily I'm just at SoCal Pro
Yeah.
and Valor Pro Wrestling. I'm hoping to get back out there and do more, but I just been the last couple of about year or two I've been real busy. Just I went back to school to be a barber, so I
Okay.
just I just got my barber's license. So I'm trying to run with the gimmick of being Tortuga the Barber Beefcake, something along the lines
I
like
like
that.
it. I like it.
Um, yeah, just something fun. I want to bring something different to barbering. But that's kind of what I'm doing right now is just SoCal Pro, Valor Pro, and then if there's any promotions that want to hit me up and get in contact, I'd love to do work with anyone.
Oh yeah.
So,
No, I'm very familiar with One Ring Circus
yeah,
and Valor Pro. I believe I've had a handful of people on from both. I know Chris Disney One Ring Circus. I've had him
Yep.
on a couple times now. Always love shouting out past guests. Now, going into, I got two categories that I kind of like to round stuff off with. First one's a bit of a name game where I name off some people. You give me some quick first thoughts on them. And I try to theme this category towards my guests as much as possible. And, wearing the mask, I figure, each of these people, I don't think too many people will have an issue knowing who any of these guys are. Big names under a mask. Wow, it's starting to thunder and storm over here. Anyways, like I said, first thought that pops in your head after I give you the name.
Okay.
Now, the first one, I think, especially in today's wrestling landscape, if I did not name this guy first, some people would wonder what the heck is wrong with me.
Yeah.
One of the all-time greats, Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. Phenomenal person. Honestly, I enjoy watching everything he's done from WCW to now, and even with the AAA thing. Like that's phenomenal person. Very, man, dude's amazing.
Oh yeah, I've always been just blown away by stuff that he's been able to do, and just he just seems like a good-natured person on top of all of that.
Yeah,
All right.
honestly, he's goated for sure.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt. Now, this next guy, I've been paying attention to this guy clear from the days of Lucha Underground. My Lucha Underground fandom, I made it no secret. This guy has been a favorite of mine ever since then. Penta.
Yeah. Okay. Dude, that guy. I remember I saw him at SoCal Pro.
Yeah.
Um, and he teamed with Ray Phoenix, and man, dude, the things that they did were unbelievable. Like that was when I first started. I was just helping out one of my first shows, anniversary show, and I was just like, dude, this guy is amazing. And then to see everything that he's done, and then now in WWE, like, dude, I'm happy for that guy. It's crazy when you can see the emotions of someone through the TV, and like you can still feel that. Like I can
Yeah.
feel his emotions. Like honestly, I think
Oh,
he's a phenomenal wrestler.
oh, absolutely. Next up, a guy. I mean, if you're familiar with AAA, you definitely know this guy, and I definitely become quite the fan of him because I gravitate towards those intense, unique personas.
Okay.
This guy is definitely one of those. Psycho Clown.
Oh yeah. No, he's pretty cool. It's funny. I actually have a little funny story about him too. I was helping out with the SoCal Pro. Like we were just doing some stuff for this guy that would have parties for his kids. He runs an autograph business, and he actually had Psycho Clown wrestling for his son in his backyard for a private party. And I got to meet him, and it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. His kids had matching like outfits and everything. Like that's actually pretty
Nice.
cool. So yeah,
That's awesome.
that's another guy that's goated. He's pretty
Oh yeah,
cool.
for sure. I loved getting to watch him at the Worlds Collide show that just as of recording not all that long ago happened, and man, yep, I can't wait. I can't wait for more stuff from him. Although I hear that they're at a Triple Mania, there he didn't really get the result that he wanted from his match. But hey, Psycho Clown's got a fan in me. Now, last but not least, here I mentioned that I always like giving this guy a shout out whenever I can because he's quite frankly done way more for me than he ever needed to. SoCal Crazy.
Man, that guy right there is honestly one of my mentors. One of the guys that I look up to, I admire, and I love that guy. Man, he's a phenomenal person inside and out.
Oh, without a doubt. And like I I like to say that he's definitely one of the strongest people that I know, like mentally, physically, because anybody that knows anything that he's been going through with it's no secret out there that like the cancer treatments and everything that he's been going through oftentimes taken a lot out of him, but he never fails to be thinking about other people. He's
Oh,
always reaching out periodically. I don't think we go more than a week without somebody sending the other something to just kind of be uplifting.
yes.
And he's when he had his first can't what was it, Hermanos contra Cancer, the benefit show that he did.
Yes.
It was very shortly after that loss that my wife and I had,
Okay.
and he was one of the first people that I actually went out and told about it, outside of a few people here locally. He was getting ready for that show, and I did not ask for this, but he was insistent. He dedicated that show to the twin girls that my wife and I lost.
Wow.
And I was just like, I remember when he first even offered, I'm like, I was getting a little choked up because I'm like, dude, you do not have to do that. It was already dedicated to a great cause.
Yes.
Now he was doing that, man, just speaks to the type of person that guy is.
Yeah, it just shows how selfless he is, man. He's that guy will give you the shirt off his back.
Oh yeah.
Honestly.
Oh yeah. No, he is definitely a type that would definitely do that for somebody that he cares about, for sure. All right, now I got some random questions, some wrestling related, some not really anything to do with anything we've talked about so far.
Okay.
First one, craziest in match moment for you.
Um, I had a tag match with one of the guys that would train with us, um, and he was going for a Phoenix Splash, and I moved out of the way, and I was hoping to give him something back. I thought he was gonna land on his feet. He hit the canvas. I was like, all right, cool, here we go. I was ready to just fire up on him, and he didn't move. So I was like, what
Oh,
the heck? So I went and I pushed him over, and he was out. So I go to pin him. I was like, all right. And that was that. And he was just come to find out he had knocked himself out.
wow.
So he made my job easy.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
That would that would
After I made sure I told the ref, I was like, hey, this guy's out, and they got some guys in there, took care of him. But yeah, that was honestly one of the craziest things I experienced because I I couldn't believe it. I thought he was gonna pop up and
yeah.
but no, he was out. I just rolled him over. I was like, oh yeah, this guy's out.
Yeah, that would definitely fit for a crazy. Oh wow, the costs want to be nagging around right now. But yeah, that would definitely fit. I know I've definitely witnessed some pretty crazy moments myself.
Yeah.
One of them, heck, my the clip I had on the YouTube channel of my vantage point of this in ring moment got up to like 11,000 views in like 24 hours, like less.
Okay.
And it was from an AEW Dynamite and Dynamite and Collision taping, I believe, where Adam Copeland and Moxley had their street fight and that infamous nail board spot.
Yeah.
I
That
was
stuff is
third.
back.
I was third row right by the entrance for that. It happened right in front of me.
Dang.
I literally, my clip that I had, you could literally see the skin trying to hold on to the nails as they were trying to pull it out of Moxley's
Yeah.
back.
Oh, yeah. That's
And then the individual beads of blood trickling out of each of the holes when they
yeah.
finally got it out of them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was like I've witnessed some crazy moments from like you know promotions that have like those like Cage of Horrors type shows where like one promotion ran by Sammy Callahan, Wrestling Revolver. Shout out to those guys; they're
Okay.
great. But I've been to at least one Cage of Horror show, and fire was used in two different spots.
Damn.
Like I've witnessed some crazy stuff, but that nail board spot still one that vividly sticks out in my head, just
Yep.
from the visual alone, was just nuts.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Now, on to the next question here. Those that are in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fandom like us, we all, everybody has their favorite.
Yep.
Which, yeah, the words are hard. Favorite Ninja Turtle character for you?
Raphael.
I can't argue with that one. That's a solid one.
Yep.
And I know for me, Michelangelo. I gotta. It speaks to my goofball nature, I guess,
Yep.
because I'm a natural just goofball. That's just me. And
Always got my Ninja Turtle wallet too.
oh, dude, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But when I met Townsend Coleman, the voice of Michelangelo from that original cartoon, I got in a solid almost 5-10 minute conversation with him just off of me telling him Michelangelo has always been my favorite.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yep. Now, I mentioned, Ninja Turtle collections, some of my one of my hobbies. I've got a few. Probably my wife would probably say I have too many. What is a hobby you have outside of wrestling? Because I know wrestling can take up quite a bit of time, staying in ring shape and
Yeah.
training and everything. But what is a hobby you have outside of it all?
Um, I guess barbering has
Okay.
become one of my new hobbies. I over the last, year, I've learned to really enjoy cutting hair. Um, right now I find it very therapeutic. I just have someone come in with a mop, mop for hair, and you just clean them up and they leave feeling, I don't know, lighter, happier,
It,
confident.
there is a certain when you know that you're due for a haircut,
Yeah.
there can be something said for going in and finally getting that fresh cut and just it does feel a little lighter. You can't feel a little like all right, you know
Yeah.
got a new little lease on stuff for a little bit.
Yep.
I can see that. Yeah. Now, yeah, I have my hobbies behind me here. Like I've said,
That's cool.
I've got a lot I'm into. I don't like to buy wrestling figures already signed.
Hmm.
I like having them and taking them to the person. Like I've like the entire the back of the way up top there, all my signed wrestling figures from like Hangman Page, Lance Archer. I got Rich Swann, Jeff Cobb. I got at that same convention that I met the Ninja Turtle guys at. I also got to meet Rikishi, and I got Head Shrinker Fatu
Oh wow.
figure signed by the big man. I got to tell him about how him as Head Shrinker Fatu was in my first ever pro wrestling show I ever went to.
Oh wow.
And other ones I got from Matt Cardona, Danhausen, uh, Taya Valkyrie. I got a bunch, and
Yeah.
even some outside of wrestling. I'll admit I'm not as much of a Power Ranger guy as I know some people that I know are,
Yeah.
but I actually got to meet one of the originals from from the original show, the Green Ranger himself.
Wow.
Sadly, it happened maybe 2 months before he took his own life.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy. That's
I
pretty
just
cool.
I just remembered somebody telling me, "Oh, did you know Jason David Frank's going to be in town?" I'm like, he said, "You want to go?" And I'm like, yeah." But yeah, like I'm proud of my little stuff. I even
That's
got
cool.
my wife always tries to remind me every time we go to places. I also collect souvenir shot glasses from pretty much everywhere I go.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm rather proud of one being a fan of the movie Forrest Gump. I've been to a bunch of the Bubba Gump
Yeah.
restaurants, and not only having been a fan of the movies, I'm also a bit of a Dr. Pepper fiend.
Okay.
Well, I went to a Bubba Gump at the Mall of America. Bam, Bubba Gump Dr. Pepper shot glass.
That's cool.
Oh man, when I saw that, my jaw dropped. I'm like, I have to have that. So
Yep.
my little hobbies there. Now, I this next question I have here, I like to remind people just because it says drinking a Moe's doesn't mean that it has to be alcoholic. I mean, yeah, I was drinking a beer tonight, but it doesn't have to be alcoholic. But favorite drink of yours, alcoholic or otherwise?
Um, man, so many. Oh. um, I'm gonna name a few.
Okay, name a few.
All right. So, favorite alcoholic drink? I would say the one you were having, Coors Banquet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep. I'm a big Coors Banquet guy.
Oh yeah.
Um, energy drink wise right now, I'm gonna say it's a Celsius. I like the mango, what is it? Mango passion fruit.
Okay, that sounds like a solid
That's
choice.
my go-to. And as far as soda, Sprite. I'm a Sprite drinker. Not really
Okay,
big into
Sprite.
soda. And I'm really big on water. Yep.
Well, gotta stay hydrated. But yeah, beer definitely Coors Banquet's one of my
Yep.
tops. I I'm upset that they don't sell more of this near me, but I need to get more whenever I can. But Stone Cold's Broken Skull American Lager,
Yeah.
freaking delicious.
Yep. I got one in my fridge.
Oh man, I'm jealous.
I'm saving it for a good day that I clean the yard and I just need to crack one open. There
Hey,
you go.
that would definitely be a refreshing choice right there.
You guys have a Bevmo around you?
No.
Bevmo, it's like a drink or a wine and spirits
Yeah, I,
place.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know
Okay. Because
because I No,
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say if you go to a Bevmo or like some kind of wine and spirits place, you might be able to find them there.
I might need to check that out because
Yeah.
as far as I've been able to tell, the closest they sell it to me. I mean, I do have in-laws that live there, but
Okay.
Kansas City, which is like 2.5, 3 hours away.
Okay.
So it's like, if I'm down there visiting the in-laws, maybe if we have time, I'll try to see if I can find it. But yeah, I'm a little bummed. I try to anytime I'm anywhere where I think I could find it, I'm definitely looking.
Yeah.
But energy drinks, I've become a fan of some of the C4 varieties.
Oh yeah.
Like they have the popsicle brand ones.
Okay.
I love the cherry one. That's a
Yeah.
that's a salt. And then I also I've been picking up a lot lately the Hawaiian Punch one.
I haven't had that one yet.
It basically tastes like somebody carbonated Hawaiian Punch.
Oh, okay.
It's delicious. I love it. And then, as I stated, I'm a bit of a Dr. Pepper fiend.
Yeah. It's funny because right now that you said Hawaiian Punch, I actually was getting stuck on the Ghost energy drinks. There was a Welch's one. And when I was a kid, I
Oh,
used to love Welch's grape juice. And
oh yeah.
there's a grape Welch's Ghost energy drink. And I was getting that for a good minute. And I was like, "Ah, I gotta kick back on these." And
Yep. I've heard great things about that one
yeah, that's pretty good.
for sure. Now, last but not least here, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling?
Best advice I have. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say if you feel like you want to do this, if you have any thought of wanting to do this, seek it.
Hmm.
Seek it. Go find something close by. Anything you can do, just just go scratch that itch because the longer you wait, the more it's gonna pass you by. And it's like I tell my daughter, she plays softball. I was like, you can't stare at a pitch that comes right down the middle and let it go by. You got to swing for the fences, kid. Knock it out of the park.
Oh yeah. No, definitely one of those things that I've definitely heard it described as, you when you end up being on your last days, you want to look back on your life and thinking more like, holy crap, I did that, and
Mhm.
not, man, I wish I did that.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, and
Great.
there's a lot of people that I've met that said, "Oh, well, I want to wait till I'm in shape," or I want to, do some cardio, or I want to, nope, 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 don't. Just
Hey,
come the way you are because nothing you do can prepare you for the type of training we do. You know what I'm saying?
oh
So
yeah. And
just
hey, the training, wanting to get into shape, maybe that training for pro wrestling can be that perfect thing to finally just punch
yep,
you right through it.
absolutely.
For sure. Great advice. Now, before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on Tortuga, they can go ahead and get them there.
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram at mighty_tortuga. You can find more of me on the SoCal Pro page at SoCal Pro on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything. And if you want to follow me on my barbering journey, you can find me at Turtly Faded on Instagram.
All right. We'll definitely have all of that in the description.
Yeah,
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to finally get this one scheduled and get you on the show. I wish you well, not
thank you,
only the
sir.
pro wrestling journey, but also the barbering journey, because that's a pleasure of yours. I want to wish you well on all of it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
And you know what? You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much.
Now, my issue with this damn button. Fucking hell.